broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to Indigitous Sessions. I know there's about 20 of you that are online right now. We have about 50 people registered. I even heard there's a team that's going to set a part of their time today to take this as a learning opportunity. So I want to congratulate you for making time to be part of the sessions, and as well as those that might watch this on the replay. So today's topic is on digital pathways for spiritual growth. You're in for an exciting topic. You know, you've seen the little advertisement that led you to sign up for this webinar, and we're going to do a couple of case studies, and that will help you understand what does it really mean to create digital pathways. And there's two questions that come to mind. First is, do you know the people that come to your web properties or use your mobile platforms or use your view your digital media? And do you know whether they are moving to the place that you want them to go? And Matt is our speaker today, and we have the opportunity to hear from him. And just briefly introduce Matt Watts. He's been on staff, served as a missionary with Crew for 20 years now. Right now he serves as a digital strategist in the Global Digital Strategies department, and he looks at outward-facing products that interface with the people that the Crew desires to reach. He's lived and served with his family for 12 years in Asia, and part of the desire for him to grow and understand it came from that experience of this realizing that if we really want to reach the millions of people in this massive country and in the world actually, we really need to think about good digital strategies. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Matt. He's going to take us through this seminar or this webinar called Is There a Way Across? So Matt, over to you.
Simon. Thank you. I appreciate it, and really appreciate Indigitous giving me this opportunity. Yeah, Simon, you mentioned in your intro kind of, do we know who's coming to our places? So we have digital efforts, we have a digital strategy. Do we know what's actually happening with those people that are coming? Do we know them, and are they moving? Are they progressing in some of the things that we want to offer them? And two of those words that you used really match with kind of the framework that we've been talking through as a digital strategies team within Crew. And it actually came out of this passage, very familiar passage of Jesus in Matthew 28. And I just want to read it and kind of start here because one of the things that are very important to us is not to get stuck or get lost into strategy, but really have everything that we're doing and all of our strategies biblically informed and really pointing people back to Jesus. So let me just read this passage. We can kind of use it as a mini devotional ourselves as we get started. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always, to the end of the age." I just want to make just a few observations on this passage. One is that I really love and have been impacted by the first sentence and that last sentence of this Great Commission. All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth, and I am with you always to the end of the age. And I mean, just think of that as those of us on this webinar who are watching who love Jesus, who follow Jesus, this is something he's saying is true. I have all the authority, and I am always with you. And that's just really a comfort to me as we try to do hard things, go to hard places, speak a message that can be very disruptive to people. Both his power and presence is available to us to do what he's asking us to do in the middle of these two phrases. And let's focus in there because this is really what informs our mission, our ministry, our calling, but also our digital strategies. So go therefore and make disciples of all nations. And this is something that our team talks about quite a bit to remind ourselves that we only want to do one thing, and that is make disciples. We're not building websites. We're not trying to find cool new social media strategies, the best visuals, awesome, compelling videos, chat messaging apps. Like, all of those things are things that we're doing, but we really are doing one thing. We're obeying Jesus and going and making disciples of all nations. These two phrases here, and the first one, baptizing them in the name of the Father, has captured us as a digital strategies team. And how we talk about this really is, this is a moment of identification for a person. When they're baptized, they're saying, I want to be known as a Christ follower. I want to be one that the whole world knows. So I want to do this publicly. I'm identifying myself with the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And the word that we've come to use to capture that piece is this idea of being known. A person being known as a Christ follower, identifying with Christ, but also being known to us and known to the community. Do we know their name? Do we know what they care about? Do we know where they are in life? And can we contact them? Can we communicate with them? So this first thing, baptizing them in the name of the Father, is can we know people deeply? And then the second thing that really has captured us is this idea of not just identification, kind of a one-time raising of the hand, an act of obedience, but actually teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. That is this ongoing process that you and I are still a part of ourselves, in terms of learning what it is to obey, to become like Christ. So the word that we've used to capture this is this idea of moving. So do we know people, and are they moving along spiritual pathways wherever they are? Is it moving from being completely antagonistic towards Jesus to being curious? Is it moving from being a questioner to being one who believes? Wherever somebody is, we want to see them both known and moving in an intentional, relevant spiritual pathway. Then I want to just add, just do a few examples. So looking at this photo here, I think this photo is a really great example of a digital reality, right? So we have lots of different people in this picture. We're looking at a node of transportation, so people are coming down from the stairs, up from the bottom. They're moving left and right. They're moving together or separately. Like this is like a snapshot of traffic in digital spaces. And just as a few examples, like look at this guy right here at the top of the stairs. I mean, we could call this guy Jeff. He's on the phone. He's standing at the top of the stairs. We don't know if he's come from the right side, from the left side. He's looking down the stairs. We know his name. He's got something there, but he's not moving. He's kind of at this point of decision and considering. Maybe he's even on the phone going, hey, bud, am I supposed to go down or back around left? You know, like he's just in this point. We know his name, but he's not necessarily doing anything yet. Now let's take this person over here, moving so fast that the camera doesn't even capture her image, right? Probably emerged from the bottom, heading up to the top. We can't even see him clearly. This is like people who just buzz through our websites. They maybe click on a video that we've made and they watch the first 30, 45 seconds and they're just in and out and off. People are moving through what we have. We actually have no idea who they are or where they're going. Let's take this woman over here. Let's say her name is Patricia. You can see she has purpose to herself. She's descending the stairs. She's kind of looking down across the railing towards the next flight of stairs that she's going to. So she knows exactly where she is, where she's come from, where she's going. We know her name. We know what she cares about, and we can help this person, right? So just a quick snapshot of known and moving. But I want to point out one more person here, one more idea that kind of finishes out how we think, or how we want to be as digital strategists with Crew. This woman up here, and you might be able to see it clearly on the screen, she's holding up a pamphlet at the top. She's looking back up the stairs towards some people that are off frame, and she also has a little microphone that she's got held up to her voice, and she's a guide. She's a tour guide of some sort, and she is guiding people in a certain direction. She's helping them come from and go to where they want to. And this is an idea on the bottom you see there. We want people to be known and moving with others that they know and trust. Known and moving with others that they know and trust. And each of those three components are really important to us. And it's become important to us because as we've tried some different things, we've realized that these are important and not easy to do. So Simon, with your permission, I'd like to just go ahead and jump into 3 quick case studies, if that's okay. You don't have to give me the affirmation. I'm just going to go ahead. You can stop me if you need to. So the first case study comes out of the Philippines. We've been working with a couple of digital strategists down there. Amazing, amazing team of people down there. In this case study, it's actually a very simple example, and it might be easy for you to say, I mean, this isn't, I'm not really learning anything here. But this is actually, I think, one of the gold standards of what we want to see. Okay? So here's the scenario. The Philippine ministry, they want to see student ministries and student movements started on a whole bunch of campuses where they don't have any ministry activity. And they want to see students leading these things. So one of their strategies is to do what some of you might have been doing, is to take Facebook posts, Facebook ads, and to target them to students around certain places. And you can see the ad, you know, we can help you make disciples and reach your campus for Christ. You want to join us? Then just give us your contact information and then discover more at this place. Now I want to do just a quick few observations on this one ad in terms of known and moving, right? So there's a couple of different pathways that they've put into this very simple ad. One that you might not even notice is on the top right of the picture. There's the @CCC Philippines Twitter handle. So one little pathway is if you see that, you might jump on Twitter, be curious, and start following them. Okay, that would be one way for you to become known to this group. Excuse me. The other is they say you can private message us, or you can go to our website. So right there, we are already having 3 opportunities for people to kind of identify themselves with the Philippine Campus Crusade for Christ group and to possibly be a part. However, if you look down at the bottom, just like Facebook works, there's 2,800 about the likes, you know, thumbs up. There's 101 comments, 13, I think the shares, different things. So already we have about 3,000 people that have done something with this ad in terms of responding to it. Each one of those people, we have the ability to know. Maybe they're interested in what is being offered. Maybe they actually want to be that spiritual leader for their campus. Now, often here, the strategy can break down. We think we throw some ads out there, we do some things, and all of a sudden magic's going to happen. Like Facebook ads are just like magic, pixie dust that we throw over everything, and it's like, wow, amazing digital. But that actually takes a lot of intentionality, and this is what the team did. After taking all the contacts, the likes, the private messages, the follows on Facebook, the comments, the shares, they systematically began to go through and recontact each one of those people to ask, do you want to be someone who talks about Jesus and makes disciples on your campus? Then they offered to have a personal Skype appointment with those people that were very, very interested for a deeper conversation about what that looks like. And for Campus Crusade for Christ in the Philippines to say, we want to come alongside and help you. Through each of those phone calls, very intentional, very purposeful, this picture I saw on Facebook, which just was so awesome. Like, these aren't clicks or likes or, you know, whatever. This is actually 3 faces that have come together, and they're meeting at this McDonald's in Manila for a training on how they can be spiritual leaders on their campus. I mean, so you can see now why I say, like, this is the gold standard, right, of digital strategies. Like, it's not just the vanity metrics of views and likes and clicks and times on site. This is, we actually get to see and know 3 people, Josely, Swin, Ati, 3 people, 3 faces who have emerged to raise their hand to say, I've been this to help. So we have disciplers, and they're together with people that they know and trust. So very simple case study, but incredibly powerful. And I'd like to say for you, excuse me, oh, thank you. GoToWebinar. Okay, I'm back. The intentionality is there in the middle, that once people make themselves known to you, what are you doing to respond to them and to continue to move with them in a way that is relevant and helpful to them? Okay, so let's move on to the second, a quick poll. Yeah, so Jeremy, if you've got that poll, let's go ahead and kick that up there for a second. I'm just curious to see how we in this pool of people are doing in terms of this type of thing. Jeremy, you got that poll? We still there? There had been some problems with the internet, so I can initiate that myself. All right, cool. Let's move on. We'll take the poll later. So second case study. This has been a lot more of what my work has been in the past few months and years, and it's really surfaced a lot of learning for myself, and I'd love to share this with you. And there's going to be quite a bit of data as well to back up. Oh, cool. Okay. Thank you, Howard, for letting me know the poll's on the screen. Just let me know when it's done. I actually can't see the results. Hey, Simon, go ahead and just let me know when to go ahead and you got the poll off screen. However, while you're taking the poll, I'll keep going. This has really grown a lot of my passion in this area of digital strategies and making disciples. And the process of doing this through digital spaces is really, really difficult. Because the thing that we really want, that we're praying for, making disciples, is it's such a deep work in terms of changed lives that that it's not easily quantifiable or helped by just those simple things of likes and shares and different things like that, which is why Mel's work and the digital strategists in the Philippines work of really being a part of it with people is helpful learning. So let's go into the second case study. A friend of mine, Howard, made a very powerful 4-minute film called The Falling Plates. Many of you have maybe seen it. Some of you might know him. Amazing, amazing film. And just like we talked about earlier with Matthew 28, he was not satisfied to make a film that got a lot of views on YouTube. Like, that's a cool thing. A lot of people are doing it. It's a big, like, go viral, right? We want our digital strategies to go viral. But for him, that would have been a waste of time. He wanted to make disciples. He wanted to see people both come to know Jesus and follow him because of this short film. But he created this film, and you know, he's like, I don't know what to do after this. If you throw up on YouTube, as soon as somebody watches it on YouTube, what does YouTube do? It just recycles 12 more suggestions, and people are like off and clicking and watching something else. If Falling Plates is posted on Facebook, right? Someone even might stop, they might scroll, they might watch it, click play, but then because it's within Facebook and the feed, as soon as it's done, people just keep scrolling on and the moment's over. But what happens when our strategy actually does what it's supposed to do? What happens if this film actually impacted somebody? How could they do anything? How could we know them and be available to help? Here's a couple of other people I want to introduce you to. It's a guy named Paul, a woman named Marilyn. They work with everystudent.com or essentials24.org. They had very strong, very vibrant kind of online discipleship environments, right? They wanted to help people. They wanted to see them grow. They wanted to see them move, and they had processes to help people move and grow. But what was happening is Howard had this film. These other people had discipleship materials, both online, but the pathway was closed. They weren't connected. There was no way to go through that was easy for the user. You know, anything less than 3 different jumps between websites, it was a mess. And so myself and some others were like, this is an opportunity that we need to solve so that people can be both known and moving with other people that they trust. So how do we do this in this scenario? It's been a lot of what we've been working with. Like, how do we provide a simple, relevant choice for people that are impacted by that short film? So this is what we built. We built a prototype website that does three or four things. One, it gives someone the film. There's only one thing you can do when you come to this place. You can click play. If they click play, if they watch, if they finish, if they're impacted, we immediately ask them a relevant question about the film. And for the Falling Plates film, the question is this: Jesus asked you, will you follow me? And then based on that, we gave them 6 answers that they could choose from. No, I don't want to follow you, Jesus. I follow another religion. I'm not sure. I want to start. I'm trying, and I'm following. And each of these represents a way that this visitor can tell us, one, what they think and what they want to do. And then that allows us to come in and think, how can we provide something relevant that can help them keep moving? And that's what you see on the right side, is to try to match their answer by clicking that button with something that we have available online that fits what they want, that they might want to keep going with. And that way we keep extending their experience and we get to keep helping them. So we built a prototype and we worked with our friends in the Philippines. There's a picture of Mel and Ace. They're both evangelists, they're disciplers, they're passionate about that. That is their purpose, and they need simple digital tools to do this. So Ace and Mel started doing these digital outreach times where they would gather Bible studies, churches, 10, 20, 50 people together, and they would, people like Lillian, they would get a unique URL that they could share with their friends that would be this whole pathway, this whole process. So this is a real story. It's a woman named Lillian in the Philippines. She came to one of these outreaches. She logged in, got her own URL, and began to share it with her friends. So she shared it with a woman named Agnes. So Agnes clicked on this link, came to this website, and looked at that video and the play button. And she actually hit play. Now, I'm going to show you some data here. Over the course of our testing, I think we've tested with about over 1,000 people and 12,000 of their friends. And this data is pretty much similar all the way through. Of all the unique visitors to this tool, to this website, 81% of the people took that call to action and clicked the play button. Now, that's a really high engagement rate for that first point, right? They clicked play. Is that what we want? That's what we wanted then, but that's not what we want completely, right? So how do we keep moving? Ag actually invested with us 4 minutes and seconds watching the entire short. And she was presented with this question, Jesus asked you, will you follow me? Of all the people that started the video, and I want to explain how to read this, of all the people that started the video, 71% of the people watched for 4 minutes and 4 seconds and finished the video. That's an incredible engagement rate in terms of investment. Already they've invested with us about 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Really amazing, really powerful. So just like Agnes, 71% of those who started actually finished the film, and we're sitting there looking at that question, hey, Jesus is asking you, will you follow him? Let's go back to Agnes. She clicked the 4th button, which says, I want to start. Now for us, we interpret that person who clicks I want to start as being someone who says, I want to start following Jesus. Like this is a first-time decision for me. And let's go back to the data here. Of all the people that finished the video, 70% of the people actually answered that question. That's, of all the unique visitors, that's 40% of all people that just touched on that website ended up answering the question, will you follow Jesus? Now imagine that in any of your other strategies. Imagine that walking around your neighborhood and just asking, hey, do you want to follow Jesus? Do you want to follow Jesus? Do you want to follow Jesus? And having 40% of those people tell you an answer. Yes, no, I'm not sure. I follow another religion. I am trying, but I don't know how, right? Really awesome responses. We were very encouraged by this. It's like, okay, something's happening here. As soon as Agnes clicked that button, I want to start, we wanted to offer her something relevant to help her, okay? And this is where we start moving into that known and moving piece of making disciples, right? As soon as she clicked I wanted to start, we said, we want to offer you this series called the Essentials 24 series. 24 basic lessons about Christianity and how to your new life with Jesus. And we ask, could you give us your name and could you give us your email? Let's go look at the data. Kind of trying to shift here, and there's some reasons why I could explain in another webcast why the break was so huge. But 14% of those who answered the question actually gave us their name and email, which is an amazingly high percentage. That's 5.6% of all total visitors actually gave us their name and email. Now I'll tell you, most of like internet ministry stuff like this, that percentage is 1% or less. And we were seeing 5.6% of total visitors, 14% of those who actually had the opportunity wanted to be known. They were raising their hand and saying, I want you to know me, and I want you to help me move in some direction. The last piece here, and you'll see Lillian drops back in, because when Agnes signed up for Essentials 24, we then asked Agnes, who do you want to do this with? Who do you know and trust that follows Jesus, loves God, that prays, whatever, that you want to invite to do this together? And Agnes invited Lillian. And I want you to see, of all the people that signed up, 55% of those actually requested a friend to come join them in moving together. And what we had done is, at that point, we had surfaced two people that we now knew, Agnes and Lillian, and we're helping both of them move together. I'll say this, and let me just stay here. Often what happens in internet ministry, and often what we do in our digital strategies, is back up there with Lillian. We ask Lillian to take a faith step, right? Lillian, we want you to do something. We want you to have faith. We want you to share this link with somebody. Share this photo with somebody. Invite them to come to this. And Lillian does. She'll take that link and she'll put it on her Facebook. She'll tweet it out. She'll Instagram it, Snapchat it, whatever. Wherever her friends are, she'll trust us and join us and do that. But what happens if somebody, one of Lillian's friends, actually did something with that? Does Lillian ever know? Let's say one of her friends clicks on the link and goes and says, I'm interested in Jesus now. Well, what happens usually with internet ministry is that friend is off on a completely separate process where maybe they get an e-mentor, maybe they get something else. But we've split Lillian's faith and her faith actions from the spiritual fruit that she's seeing, and we never bring those back together. That, when we realized that, as we started getting into this, we're like, that we need to solve this problem of where we allow the fruit that comes from Lillian's faith actions to be kept together, and in community they can continue to grow. So one more piece here. Our friends, our digital strategists in the Philippines are awesome. They're amazing. What they did with this system is they took it one more level. And as you see, there's two buttons down there, I'm trying and I'm following. And I think Howard would correct me, he might text me here in a second with the right number, but I think it's about 70% of the total viewers of Falling Plates that have been asked this question click I'm trying and I'm trying to follow Jesus, or I am following Jesus. Now for an evangelistic film, it kind of feels like we're missing our audience there, right? It's an evangelistic film and we should be having more of the no's, I follow another religion, I'm not sure, I want to start. But what this film has actually done has been an amazing encouragement to believers as well. And it's surfaced a whole pool of people who are saying, I want you to know me. I want you to know something about me. I'm trying to follow Jesus, but I don't know what to do. Or I am following Jesus. I love Jesus. I want to talk about Jesus. And the question is, well, what's the spiritual pathway that we could offer for them? So when somebody clicks I'm trying and I'm following, they were offered uniquely tailored series to them in terms of, well, are you trying to follow Jesus? Well, have you heard of the Holy Spirit who's been sent to help you? Or if somebody says, I am following Jesus, we say, awesome, can we help you make disciples where you live? And the Philippines added another layer, and they took all of those names and they invited those people to have a personal Skype call to say, we would love to coach you and to help you. You're the type of people that we are called to serve. How can we serve you? And they've seen churches started, they've seen Bible studies started, they've seen neighborhoods reached, they've seen student groups started on campuses that they didn't have anything going just because they were paying attention and they were making it easy for people to be known and moving with others that they know and trust. So just intentionality is really a key part of this. Case study number 3, and then we will go to some questions. This is pretty complex. We built the prototype in a few months, and then to move the prototype to like a version 1 that you could use easily has been really, really difficult. There's a lot of complexity here. And we realized if we want people known and moving together, we were having to go through a whole ton of stuff to actually finally get to what we wanted. So we kind of paused development on this system and said, why don't we start with what we actually want first, which are people known and moving together. And that's where we started the work on a messaging app, conversation starter called Voke. It's just launched in Android at this point. Just this week we started the development for the iOS app. But I want to just show you quickly how we've kind of flipped the script on this and started with known and moving and then gone from there. So in Voke, there's just 4 simple steps that you do. And after you download the app, simple onboarding, you're like within 30 seconds can be in spiritual conversations with your friends. And the first step is to pick a compelling, impactful video. And you'll see there falling plates or something called The Black Hole, a really funny movie about a robot called R32. So pick a video. What's the compelling thing that you can give to your friend? The second step, very simple, reading from your contact list. Hey, pick a friend. So right here, we are in this space of known with others that you know and trust. So we know the person who has the app, and they know all their friends and their phone contacts. And so we're starting with that pool together. Okay? See how we've kind of flipped it around? We started with anonymous people and content, and now we're actually starting with people together. Then the third step of the app is you have your film, you have your friend, send a message to your friend through SMS, and then, boom, just like that, you're in a chat conversation with your friend about that compelling piece of media. And that's where the moving comes in. You have known with people you trust, and now we're starting to try to figure out how do we insert that moving pieces within that place. So that was a really fast run. Let me just take a quick look at the poll. The poll results were texted to me. 5% of you said you do a really great job of kind of that intentional moving forward. 40% said okay. 45% said sometimes, and 10% not at all. And I totally resonate with that. Sometimes it takes so much effort to like get all the stuff together and just get it out there that I'm like too tired to keep doing the hard work of intentionally moving with people and engaging with people that are responding to what I've got. So I'm with you on that. All right, so Simon, any questions?
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, quite a number of questions have come in, and one quick one that I thought might be helpful. Somebody wants to let you summarize the percentages again. How many percent saw the film and answered the questions and sign up? If you can go back to that slide with that flow and just kind of give that again. I think many folks are trying to get a good feel of this. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is called a Sankey diagram, and it's kind of a flow. And so all the red and pinks that are moving up are people who stayed with the pathway. Okay. All the blues are people who said, no thanks, I'm done. Okay. And at every step, every time you ask somebody to do something, you'll have this. You'll kind of have this behavior flow of people who say, okay, I'll keep going with you, or no thanks, I'm done, I'm leaving. So you'll see the blue. If you have Google Analytics for any of your websites or apps or things like that, there's a way to look at this type of thing in the behavior area of your Google Analytics. And I love looking at this because this is like looking at sidewalks and pathways and highways of your
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's like, where are people actually going? And when you see a really big blue area right there, so from from the question to sign up, there's a huge blue drop off, right? That's an immediate observation we can make and ask this is how data helps us, right? It helps us ask good questions. And so when we saw this, like, whoa, we got huge red, everybody's staying with us until this point, and then everybody almost drops off. And what we realized is we took that data and started to investigate and go back to the field and watch how people were using this, that a lot of this is because the mobile experience was horrible. We were trying to have people watch a film, chat with their friend, and sign up all on this thing.
Yes.
And it was a disaster. So those numbers actually changed if you looked at like desktop chatting. But once somebody came to this thing on a mobile phone, it completely broke, which is why we started with Vogue. So that's so we had 81%, I believe, start the video. We had, of the people who actually clicked play, 71% of those finished the video. And then I can't remember, where are we? 70% after finishing the video actually answered that question. Okay, and so that's kind of a quick review.
Thanks. This is very helpful because this really helps people. You get to see from data where are the people moving or they're dropping off. Related to this question, I know you talked a lot about intentionality, and you need that content that helps you also be part of the pathway. So there are a couple of questions that ask, do the strategists have to create their own follow-up content, or what do I need to do if I don't have any follow-up content? Can you address that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I'll just go back to here. So I wish I knew how to skip faster. When we were right here looking at this opportunity, that is exactly the question that we asked. The first question we asked is anything out there that we can use? And it actually turned out that there was less that we could use than we thought. As we kept investigating, we did start finding Bible study materials, follow-up materials, different things like that, but they were contained in their own places. Some of them were in MailChimp, some of them were on that website over there, some of them were, and you got into a situation where you were having to have your visitor like take a time warp to other places, and it was really, it was like whiplash. It's like, where am I now? I'm in a totally different place, totally different brand. What's happening? So a lot of this work right here was trying to connect the pipes between a lot of different things. So I would say, as you're looking at your digital strategy, the very nature of asking that question means you're now thinking about pathways rather than just disconnected experiences. There are things out there that you can use now, and we would love to, you can write me at matthew.watts@cru.org. We'd love to talk with you about that. But also would encourage you to start thinking of holistic and complete pathways, which means you might need to start doing the hard work of strategy, which is creating the next things that you need. So take a look around. Is there something that already exists that fits your need? Then totally use that. And if not, then you've got to be the leader, you've got to be the strategist, and prayerfully keep making.
Yeah, I think you sort of alluded to one question that just came in to say, to ask, as you build these pathways, do you build them one step at a time, or do you build the whole thing from the beginning? That means you conceptualize the whole thing from the beginning. And what advice would you give based on experience?
Yeah, so I think you need to be thinking of the whole pathway. We're going to go through, I've got a little kind of pathway audit, a couple of questions that we can do in a second for your own stuff. But I think you need to be thinking of the whole thing, and that's where a lot of the design work, and when you hear things like user experience and customer journeys and things like that, we need to be thinking of the whole thing. Yeah. However, what we've learned is if you wait to have the whole thing to start doing something, you will never ever get done. And so take the risk of getting started, and getting started and having people actually going and then bumping up against walls is going to motivate you a lot to start solving those problems. Otherwise, it just stays in theory and you don't.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I know there's many great questions coming in from you guys. I really appreciate it. We have an opportunity for you that's coming up that you are going to love. I want to let Matt wrap up his talk and then tell you about that opportunity that's coming up. So Matt, over to you. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So let me just give you a practical thing that you can do. And I would encourage you just right now when the call is done, take 20 minutes and just sit here and do this with your own stuff. Become your own customer. Become the customer to your own stuff, okay? And we do this quite a bit with our own products, and we're growing in our ability to do this, is, you know, just test it out on yourself, and you'll realize if you have gaps or not, right? And this is how I do it. Go to your strategies first place, right? So if your main digital strategy right now is Facebook ads, right? Facebook ads going to a Facebook page, okay? Really cool, very excellent. In a lot of parts of the world, the right thing to be doing right now. So just go to your strategies first place, and then do what you want your audience to do, okay? So for the Philippines ministry in their Facebook ad, their call to action was, you know, private message us if you want us to help you. Okay, so if I'm acting as the customer now to my own thing, I'm like, how do I do that again? How do I do that? Where do I go? And you just start realizing what you're actually asking other people to do. It may be easy, it may be clear, or it may not be, okay? So do what you want your audience to do right there. Then ask the question, once they do that, once I do that, what is next? And then kind of just sit there for a second and say, okay, what am I experiencing here? When I did what I wanted me to do, and I got here, and it's like you just kind of start looking around. It's like, okay, why am I here? Why is this important? What do I want here? How is this helping me based upon what I thought I was going to get? And then you just repeat that as far as you can all the way down your pathway, and then figure out, where am I actually stuck? Where am I dependent upon somebody else? Where does it not make sense? Like, where do I fall off a cliff? And it's actually embarrassing. Like with that whole prototype that we did from film to sign up to, I mean, it's kind of a humbling thing, because you go make something, you're like, yes, I did it, it's awesome, and then you go do it, it's like, oh my gosh, there's like 10 things broken. Like, that's just really dumb. But better for you to realize that than all of your people who are trusting you with their time and their social equity to be experiencing that. So it takes courage, but would encourage you, just that's one thing that you can do over the next 20 minutes, and just make a whole list of things of just simple optimization stuff that you can do. And then what's the big strategy work that's next, as people say, hey, I want to be known by you, and I want you to help me move. So that's just a quick pathways check, quick audit of that we can do for anything.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the opportunity that the Indigitous wants to offer?
Absolutely.
For those that are on this call.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we were putting this together, it's like, you know, we're talking about other people's journeys, other people's spiritual journeys, being known and moving. Then we're thinking, wait a second, like, what's your pathway? You've trusted us with 45 minutes of your time. We're really, really thankful. How can we help you keep going, right? So you're known to us now. If you want to keep moving, what are you going to do? So here's two things. First, Indigitous has a really, really good way of thinking about us as people and us as digital strategists. There's the specialists, like the coders, the designers, the UI UX people. Are you a specialist? Are you a leader? Are you like a church pastor, a ministry leader, organizational leader, business leader? Or are you kind of a generalist, like somebody who, I just love social media. I'm just a Snapchat king, you know. I love photos. I love putting that up. each of those different types of people have different needs and wants and communities and how they can contribute to the kingdom mission through digital. So on Indigitous, if you create a profile, there's a way for you to hook into those 3 different pathways. And then Indigitous is able to introduce you to people like yourself, and also kind of send you opportunities to help you grow in those unique places. So that's one very simple thing you can do now. But the other thing that we wanted to offer, since you gave us your time, and your time is really valuable to us, we want to give you our time. And so if you want, in the survey, so when this webinar ends, there should be a box that pops up that says take a quick survey. I think it's just 3 questions. The third question is, would you like a 30-minute coaching call? And what I would love to do, or somebody else from Indigitous, is really just sit down with you and say, hey, what's your strategy? Let's just do this quick audit and just listen and see if there's a way in which we can help just give you a sounding board to talk through what it is you're trying to do. So in that survey, the third question, just say, yes, I'd like a 30-minute coaching call, and we would we'll get in contact with you to find the best time.
Mm. Well, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate your time, and I can see that a lot of hard work has been put into, not just shaping this talk, but it actually reflects a lot of work that has gone in for a long time. And as you said, there's lots of complexity in thinking through strategy. I really appreciate your encouragement to us to keep pressing on. Don't wait till you get that perfect thing before you try something. So I appreciate that. So one more time, thanks, Matt. I want to thank everybody for being on this sessions. This is actually our 11th sessions, and we're so glad that we can bring these value-added content. Some of you have missed the previous ones. Would encourage you to go to our YouTube channel or our website and find out what are some of the previous sessions from other experts that you can gain from. Also, if you didn't know, if you have Spanish-speaking friends or yourself, you speak Spanish, we actually, about a month ago, we launched our Indigitous sessions in Spanish, and actually it's been excellent. Lots of people have been signing up for that and learning about digital strategies, sharpening their skills in their language of their choice. And so we want to encourage you to check out those resources. And as Matt has already said, don't forget that free 30-minute coaching call. Wait for that survey after this call hangs up. Don't miss it. There's an opportunity we want to throw to you. And finally, if you have any other questions that we didn't address, please feel free to write Matt, matthew.watts@crew.org, or you can write mail@indigitous.org. So once again, we thank you so much for being on this call with us, and we hope you have a blessed day. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everyone.